Attention students, the Jabroni University Network is now in session. Please make your way to class.
Rad Chaser. Rad Chaser. Rad Chaser. Rad Chaser. Rad Chaser.
Coming to you from Fabulous Studio B Plus in Bradenton, Florida, it's the Chaser Brothers Podcast with me, the son of Rad Chaser, and the man of the hour who reads Nintendo Power, the Bionic Commando in Orlando, the gamer who should come with a disclaimer.
Rad Chaser.
Friends, hey, hi, hello, how you doing? Welcome to the show. What's been going on? This is the Rad Chaser Power Hour, wherein I, Rad Chaser, and my beautiful boy, the son of Rad Chaser, are going to yap to you about video games and video game-related things.
That's right,
So
gang.
if
We got a
you're-
lot of great stuff on the show for you today. I don't know.
If you're not here for any of that, please turn off your device.
And go tell 10 people that you know who are into that and tell them to turn on their device.
Go outside, do some grounding, take your shoes off, touch the grass. Who knows? Whatever it is you want to do when you're not listening to the Rad Chaser podcast, to the Chaser Brothers podcast. Let's get the name right.
Do whatever you need to do, then come back and then turn it on. But you're not off the hook for listening today.
Tell you what, start playing it and stream it so we get the view count, but then you can go do what you want.
Yeah,
Turn the volume down. Whatever, just play it. It's fine.
This has been an interesting week.
Oh yeah, some events.
Stuff has been getting ordered. You got a new phone coming today, and
I have a new
tell me about
got a
that.
telephone. I got a new telephone coming. It's the iPhone 16. A little bit late to the party, but before that, I was working with a 12. So I mean, you might as well have a BlackBerry in front of me.
Grandpa
You guys remember
Chaser,
those?
what's a telephone?
Right. So a phone, the thing you use is called a phone, and it makes phone calls. I don't know if you ever use it to that. I know you only use it to text, send DMs, and go on Reddit.
Grandpa, what's a phone call?
Right.
It's a text message, but with your mouth.
You ever see those old cartoons where they have a tin can with a string on it and they tie to another tin can with a string on it? Kind of like that, but a few steps ahead.
Yeah, they got those cartoons on YouTube, Grandpa.
So we got a new phone coming out.
There we go. Just ignore me and barrel through.
We're moving on. We're not. This is the podcast where we don't linger on topics for too long. We hit the sweet spot and we move on. So yeah, new phone coming. So this is gonna be good, and we're gonna have more recording, more enhanced capabilities, more of the same, really, more chasing.
You said you had a 12, and now you're getting a what now? A 15?
A 16, the newest one that they have, the 16 Pro Max.
Okay, so that's four years since you've had a new one.
I feel like it's been longer.
I
don't know if
I just assume they release a new one every year, but if they don't, that's I don't know much about Apple.
No, you don't. So you're what I call a non-iPhone person.
Yes, me and the majority of the population.
Yup, and here we go, Samsungites. People non-iPhone people love sounding off in the comments. So please, if you want to know if a Samsung or if an Android-based phone, I don't even know what it is. That's why I call it a non-iPhone. If you want to talk about how it's better than the iPhone and how the iPhone has gotten X, Y, and Z thing years later that your phone has already been doing, go ahead and destroy us in the comments. It's fine.
Now, you'll notice how I didn't say anything, and it just got you triggered.
I'm not triggered. I just, as a good debater you should know the opposing side's information better than they do. So I've already given you some ammunition to work with. That's fine. Don't worry about it. But let's keep pressing. Let's keep pushing.
Well, no, I was just interested about the phone because you were excited about the phone.
Yes. It's nice to get a new toy. It's nice to get some new stuff. It's nice to add stuff to the stack. That's basically all we do in this family, in this podcast. We're adding to the stack. Literal main quests are adding games to the stack. The phone's going to help that.
I like that it comes in a nice box.
Box is nice. I love the packaging.
Although I feel like the boxes the phones are coming in are like getting smaller, which is like it's like okay, yeah, but then also like I do like because it's almost like how in a movie when a really rich person buys someone like a piece of jewelry or whatever, they're like, will you marry me? But it's not like the size of a ring box. Like it's the size of like a cigar case. And then they open it up and it's like, like the box is more expensive than a regular person would spend on an actual wedding ring. And they're like, marry
very
me.
ornate.
Right. And so like I feel like phone boxes are like that. So it's like, okay, this is, it's larger than it needs to be, and now they're sort of cutting the packaging down, so it's like as big as small as it can be, which is
sleek.
Yeah. I don't love it, but the boxes are still nice. They're still thick.
Yeah, look, I like a nice bit of packaging, of course. Now, while getting CIB games is not complete in the box games is not a requisite of the main quest, I do like those. I do like the packaging. I like the boxes. Expensive cardboard. It's very nice. So I feel you on the packaging. It's part of the whole thing. You look at it, you hold it, you put it in your hands, and you say, "Oh my goodness, what entertainment lies within."
You know
this
who
game.
You know who has stuff complete in box that's not just you or me? Our good buddy Retro Video Game Guy on Instagram at Retro Video Game Guy. Gotta give him a big shout out. He threw us you threw us a sub and we love you for that. We had a nice little chat, and then he lost his mind a little bit when he realized that he's like, I've sent stuff from two guys from Florida today. I was like, well, my brother is the first guy, and he's like, oh my gosh,
who chasing guys?
Yeah, it's two guys chasing around, and let me tell you, buddy, the stuff is going to come in and it's gonna stay. So thank you for your rock bottom prices, and I'll happily look at more of your stuff and tell anyone else. He said back surgery made him do it, so sometimes
Doctor said he needs a backiotomy.
Yeah, I hope that goes well for you. But this dude's cool, and he's got good prices, and he seems like just a genuinely friendly guy. So that was pretty awesome. So thanks for that. And also, if you're a recent sub, welcome to the channel. If you're listening to the podcast, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for following us on this weird little thing we do. We make a lot of short content, but mostly that's just it's a little taste to get your foot in the door for the long form content, which is that's the stuff that we sort of like really pour our hearts into. I feel like.
Yes, we rope you in with a free sample, and then we try to hook you, and we put you into that long form stuff, and you're wrapped up, and before you know it, you can't quit us, and that's what we want. So come on in. It's fine. No, there's no danger here. Not at all.
It's certainly not habit forming. It won't ruin your life.
You can quit anytime you want.
It'll make
Don't
your
worry.
life. Listen. It is a quick solution to all of your problems.
Yeah, video games. And listening to two guys talk about video games. Excuse me, I got a hiccup.
It's just two guys. It's just two guys. It's just two brothers talking about video games.
Yeah, so maybe we talk about I have a list of things here that I need to get off of my chest, okay? The first one being I had a bit of a data loss scare last week. Okay, I had a hard drive crap out on me in the middle of doing stuff, and old Chaser, it does like to back his stuff up, so there is backups. But I hadn't done it in maybe a month and a half, 2 months, so I broke my own rule there. So I think there was a bit of a loss of stuff. I was able to get some software and recover some stuff, but I spent a good chunk of probably upwards of a day freaking out, having a good panic attack about, oh my gosh, I'm losing my physical stuff. My digital stuff. We love both of our things here, and I keep raw video of stuff. I keep I document everything. I basically I want my life to be like the Truman Show. That's an old movie, kids. Back in the day, an actor called Jim Carrey used to do cool movies. Not just Sonic 3.
If you're with me, you're always on camera.
Right. So anyway, yeah, I like to keep a record of what's been going on in my life and stuff. So, short story long, I've recovered some stuff, but it seems like some of the files are still corrupted. I've sort of blocked it out of my mind. I've re-downloaded what was on the hard drive onto another hard drive, but it's it's jumbled. I have to sift through it, and I'm not going to do that right now because I got to keep moving forward and making Chaser videos. I can't be stuck in a holding tank sifting through stuff. So I'll get to it as I will. It's there. It's just needs to get sorted out.
This is interesting because you said you hadn't done it in a month and a half, and you released a couple PSAs about backing up your stuff, and I was thinking to myself, back your stuff up about once a month, kids. But then I started thinking about the nature of what we do, and it's like, man, a month worth of work that's a lot of, that's 30 plus days worth of stuff.
Yeah,
and we're releasing stuff every day, so it's like, you like maybe once a week is closer to the mark of just making sure to back stuff up. But holy
Sure.
geez, that's a lot. That's a lot of stuff to lose over a month. So
sure. Look, I'm sure I'll be very diligent and probably do it every day. Here to start. I wish there were a way to do it automatically. I know back in the day you had Time Machine or what's it called? Time Capsule or something like that. Something Apple had. Time Machine, right? I don't remember. If anybody knows more than we do, which is probably all of you, please let us know. We're about 80% correct on everything at all times.
I assure you, shouting at the podcast you're listening to will work if you yell out enough.
Yeah. So that was it. That's it for that. So data's backed up for the most part. Okay, and it's an excuse for me to get another new hard drive, and that's ultimately more stuff.
Yeah, it comes in a nice package and another box to add to the pile. I listen. I had a similar freak out before. About a year ago, I had this recliner in my chair. It's like an automatic recliner. My phone fell in, and my phone got crushed in the recliner, unusable. And I had a freak out because I had all of my child's baby pictures on my phone, and so I had a big, huge freak out. So, when you called me and you were like, oh gosh, like this thing happened, I was like, yeah, ma'am, I understand. It's it is, because it's like, it's a thing that you put work into, either physical, whatever physical. I put physical work into making a child, and then
I don't do any physical work.
And then, now you've documented all this stuff, and then it all, the thought of it just disappearing, never to be seen again, is like, oh God, it's the worst feeling.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was really right in your headspace when you said that happened, and I'm glad you were able to, Yeah, glad you were able to spend some time doing whatever. It is a bit of a headache because my stuff all backed up to the cloud. I got all that stuff back, but there was a big chunk of it where it's just like, hey, we don't have any information through this. And it's like, well, I'm not sifting through it. It's like 200 pictures. Like, it's just gonna get its own file of just here's a reminder of that time that you almost lost everything you owned. I've since purchased a backup hard drive and I've moved everything onto the hard drive and have kept the choice cuts on the phone. So
Right. So listen, my beautiful chasers, make sure you back your stuff up. That's a non-negotiable. Be smart. Back up your stuff.
yeah, back it on up.
Stay safe.
Back it on up like a U-Haul truck. Chaser, what's the next thing on the docket here?
Good. Let me talk about Tokyo Elvis for a second. What's Tokyo Elvis, you guys ask? Well, if you've watched any of our videos, Tokyo Elvis is our in-house resident musician who's lovely. He's this lovely guy that I've known probably probably since I was 14, 15, a teenager. He started making music, and he and I have been in multiple bands together over our lives, and he's still pushing through with the music thing. So he's generously donated, all of the music that you hear in the videos that we make now. So as part of that data loss scare, I had to contact him and say, hey, can I get all those tracks back, all the music that he's given through, because they were lost. So he recently hooked those things back up, and I just want to give Tokyo Elvis a shout out. He's definitely a good musician, one of the best ones I've personally known. So very happy to have him on board as a silent third member. So
Yeah,
good stuff there.
Yeah, it's good. It's we'll give our content a specific flavor that no one else's content will have, and he's gonna do it. He's gonna do it better for us because it's gonna be special because it'll be for us.
Oh, he's also responsible for that little jingle you hear at the beginning of the podcast. Maybe you throw that up here real quick.
Oh, I know that one.
Red Chaser.
That's Tokyo Elvis right there, baby. Go check him out. TokyoElvisOfficial.com. We will put a link in the description of this podcast as well for you. Okay.
It's funny. It is funny when you hear a little jingle like that because I think of the. Sometimes you don't even think about these kind of jingles, but I think of Expedia.com. Somebody sat there in a studio and wrote not even 1 second of music, just .com, and it exists. Interestingly enough, it was what's the game? John Hafferty, Malafferty,
Matt Mahaffey.
Matt Mahaffey,
something like that. He is in a band called Self, and by band I mean he's the only person.
And it's Self's good.
Baby,
love that band.
We'll start a whole separate music podcast. Why not?
Yeah, may as well. So thanks to Tokyo Elvis, man. I love that. I love that guy.
Yeah. All right. Next item on the docket. Let's see here. These are in no particular order. Let's see if I can separate the gripes from the regular stuff.
Oh, are we gonna do the first half gripes and the second half?
We should get a format going. Like if we want to get everything off our chest at the top of the hour, do that, and then or we can do it like a compliment sandwich. Fuss about stuff, then say cool stuff, and then fuss about more, or let's do it backward. I don't know. We'll figure it out.
We can add it to the format. Intro, greetings, the airing of grievances. All right.
Sure.
All right, we just loaded you up with complaining right at the front of the podcast. Now let's go to do it like this one right here. Listen, the guys on the Draft podcast. The flagship show of the Jabroni U podcast network, of which this podcast is a part of, they have a section on their show called That's So Raven, That's So Sheedy. As in, That's So Raven, and then, Ali Sheedy. And it's just a portion of the show where they take the time out of the week to go, hey, this stuff that happened to me this week was very Raven. And sometimes it's not so Raven, and then, sometimes some Sheedy things happen. It's usually Raven, though. We keep it light around here.
Nice, yes. Maybe we take that idea and we, put a video game spin on it and come up with some clever names of ourselves.
I could always ask. Kevin Aldridge wrote the theme to that. I could maybe be like, hey, how do you feel about writing a 8-bit theme to that? And we we steal it
and donating it to the podcast.
We'll get a whole studio of in-house musicians for this show. Let's go for it.
We'll get a whole cadre of musicians.
A plethora.
Yep. A whole. Oh.
You got the different one today.
Whoopsie daisy doodle.
A cornucopia of swear words.
Right. So, I saw somebody doing this in a video the other day. Speaking of complete and box NES games, they had them stacked, but they had them stacked on top of each other.
Ugh.
Not in any sort of not in any sort of protection. Protective
Why
cases.
don't you just stack your records on top of each other like that? Just get some nice rings, bend everything out of shape so it's Yeah, let's have a nice box that has bowed sides on it. Get out of here.
Right. So that irritated me a little bit.
It's offensive to me.
Sure. I mean, look, you've sat there and you said, okay, well, I'm going to buy this expensive cardboard, but I'm just going to stack it on top of each other and, let gravity do what it does. Crush damage. So it's like, that's weird because it's like, you say, I want to get this niche, item, and then, but I don't, I like it enough to get it, but I don't like it enough to, keep it, in its condition. So that one hurt me a little bit. So I just wanted to.
That's got to be that's got to be a I wasn't even thinking about gravity.
Maybe. I mean, look, this is the gravity of this situation is. Don't do that. Just put them next to each other.
I mean, I guess if the games are, but there's still no. There's no excuse.
I'm shaking my head no.
Yeah, you're right. If the game were as thick as the box, so that means the box would have to be slightly larger than 5/8 of an inch for NES games. Don't ask me how I know that.
Also, don't ask me how I know that because, I make these repro styrofoam inserts that are, also 5/8 of an inch.
Yeah, if that were the case, that would mean the box was nice and snug, and it wouldn't be as bad. But it's still no.
It's not
stacking them vertically as one should would. You're only damaging the gravity is only damaging one box. Everything is individual because they're all stacked side by side. Now, if you're stacking everything on top of each other, that's the bottom box is subject to the weight of all the stuff that's on top of it. So yeah, that's unacceptable.
Right. So, and look, I understand, because I see people stack, the carts and they stack, PS4 games or whatever, horizontally. It seems to, be more of a space saver, which I can understand, but maybe you just you're not thinking, oh, these boxes are cardboard subject to damage. So just another PSA. Maybe the podcast will just be PSAs.
Yeah, keep your data safe. Keep your expensive cardboard safe. Don't stack things on top of each other. When you're done with a disc-based game, what's a disc, Grandpa? We've done the whole thing. Put the disc back in the case. Don't just set it out next to the system, face up. or as I've done for many years.
For sure. I mean, look, there's a degree of laziness that says, well, am I going to put this thing, take it out of the case, put it back into the case, use it as a coaster for, my drink. Whatever.
I think it's a lot easier now. If you're getting disc-based games because you get the physical media with it. So like, obviously there's a couple benefits to that. There, like, for one, digitally, if something happens to your PlayStation or whatever, or your Xbox, like, that's toast. You don't have that game. You can re-download it, but also those people at any time could be like, hey, we released this new console, and now the fact that you bought this game digitally doesn't mean jack squat. Or as PlayStation straight up did, they could be like, hey, we know you bought all of this movie media content, but we don't have the rights to it now, so now you don't either. So even though you bought it, you don't get to have it anymore. And that is, I feel like someone must have taken out a class action lawsuit against Sony for doing that, or if someone hasn't already, because that's not good to be like, you've purchased this thing, so it's yours now. Well, no, technically you just rented it for a long time is what ended up happening, so they will pay.
All right.
They will pay me by giving me stuff that I want. And that's fine.
Have you seen recently that the PlayStation Network went down for a handful of hours, 14 hours or something like that? Did you read that?
I did see that. I was at work, so it didn't affect me, but everyone on Twitter was like, "Oh my gosh, how dare you take away my video games from me on a Friday night?"
Oh, right. That was like, it's funny because I see all these pages jump on it and they're like, this is why you should buy physical media, because you might lose access to your games for 14 hours every 12 years.
Well, look, you're right. You're right for the wrong reasons. If you had a physical copy of Helldivers 2, a game that is based solely on playing online, you wouldn't be able to play Helldivers 2. So, but you were right for buying a physical copy of Helldivers 2. I won't deny that. But that game,
right?
Games like that, like they're only good for as long as the servers are up, and then you just you have a brick, but it looks cool on a shelf, so I encourage it.
Yeah, it's going right next to Battleborn.
Right next to Battleborn, right next to Overwatch 1. You don't even which Overwatch 2 is free, so you don't even need to put a disc in anyway. But
so I thought that was interesting. I mean, was I affected by it? Not really. I couldn't see if any of my friends were online playing. I thought something was wrong.
Did it affect Final Fantasy 14, or did you just switch over to Dragon Quest?
Did it affect my playing of the critically acclaimed MMORPG Final Fantasy XIV online? No, it did not. To be fair, it's funny because I haven't been on in a little bit, and by that I mean a handful of days. But I feel like the more content I start making, the more it's paradoxically we're making video game content, the less video games I'm playing.
Yeah, I've been playing Dragon Quest once a week on Sunday nights. Like it is paradoxical. Like and sometimes I don't even want to play the video game because I want to make content. Like whether it's either to hit our own deadlines, or because I came up with an idea and it's like, oh man, like I want to sit in here and execute on this idea, or I'll be like, let me throw something together really quick, and then I produce an entire thing in one night, and it's like, well, okay, like that's what happened with the video game love letters. Speaking of, the second one will be dropping today at 4:00. Oh, my phone's ringing. And that's great. Let's just turn that Bluetooth thing down there. You got a little taste of double dragon.
Right.
There.
I thought you were about to segue into the next segment. Looper is on time.
Yeah. It turns out that turning your ringer off means nothing when the phone is connected to your soundboard. So Help
Yeah,
yourself.
Android-based phones, telephones, just jamming us up.
Sure.
iPhone over here, purring nice and quiet.
Yeah, nice and quiet in a box because it hasn't been shipped to your house yet.
So, yeah.
Yeah,
What else?
It's you get caught up in making some content, and it will stop you. It will stop you from playing video games. But I'm having a good time though. It almost makes that time at the end of the week a little bit sweeter. Although it takes me about 5 minutes to be like, what was I doing in this game? I haven't played it all week.
It tells you.
Yeah,
It tells you. It lets you know.
thank God
That's
for
a nice
modern
quality of life improvement.
Yeah, thank God for modern quality of life improvements.
God forbid you mess around with an older game. Even I can remember playing Dragon Quest VII for the PlayStation. It is one of the biggest, longest, hardest games. Bigger, longer, harder.
Do you play Dragon Quest 7 or Dragon Quest 8?
7 for the PlayStation, for the first
played
PlayStation.
7. You have a copy for PlayStation?
Yeah.
Oh, good on you.
Yeah. But I just remember playing it for a very long time, and then I stopped, and then it was I tried to pick it back up, and I was lost, and I could not for the life of me figure out how to get back on track, and that was that.
I recall reading that game has 100-hour campaign, which is
It's a
which
big
is
un.
crazy.
It's a big un. Yeah.
Yeah. Final Fantasy 13 takes 60 hours to beat, but it takes 100 hours if you want to go hunting after all the marks and stuff, which is that is fun. It's to me it's worth playing that extra 40 hours or whatever. But yeah, 100. I mean, it takes 100 hours to beat Persona if you're doing it, as fast as possible. Some of those
If you're
modern
speed
games,
running it.
yeah. I did a new game plus on Persona 5, and it took 100 hours to get that one going. But
You really do love your Persona, and it's I want to start playing it. I have a copy of 5. I want to play it. I mean, it's been going. I didn't know that game has been in existence for so long.
yeah, it came out on PlayStation 3.
Right, and my thing is
critically acclaimed multi-massive online player.
Oh boy.
Final Fantasy 14 online.
We need to load up a jingle where if somebody tries to say something and doesn't say it the right way, there's boom.
Hi, I'm Rad Chaser. I've got something like that. Wrong button. Hi, I'm Rad Chaser. I just noticed that you were talking about massively multiplayer online role-playing game Final Fantasy 14 Online. Well, you just said Final Fantasy 14, and that's not the name of the game. The name of the game is critically acclaimed online you know how it goes. We'll get it.
I know how it goes.
Yeah, we'll get it pre-recorded. Just loaded that.
You
up.
don't know how it goes.
It's the Final Fantasy 14 button.
Have you played the Final Fantasy 14 yet?
Oh, I love it. It's a good one.
Yeah, so, where were we? Oh, right. I mean, Persona, I want to play it. I found a copy of Persona 5 for $5.
Yeah,
in a bin.
Yeah, that's
a heck of a deal.
That is a great price for such a great game, and it is the vanilla version, but the vanilla version is really good. It's when you play it there. Okay, so Persona 5 Royal has some quality. It has a couple of quality of life things, which makes it a little easier. But on the whole, you the vanilla version of Persona 5 is really good. It's really robust. It's a huge game, and you still get 100 hours, minimum of campaign time. And also, while I do love the royal version and the extra stuff that it put in, you can they sort of reworked a couple things, but on the whole, as you're playing it, you can kind of tell like, yeah, they shoehorned this stuff in.
Yeah.
So there are parts where you're thinking to yourself like some parts are seamless and some parts are not. And that's what happens when you add an extra 40 hours of content into an already very long game. You get these long stretches where it's like, okay, we're not even thinking about this person. But also it is in the way that they introduce this new player character. And then on top of that, it's like, okay, here's this person. Well, you get a taste, and now you got to play 100 hours of game before you get to use this character again. So it's like,
I'm really liking your spoiler-free descriptions here for sure.
yeah, I don't want to spoil it for you, but man, that vanilla version of that game for $5, that's an unbeatable price.
Heck of a find.
Unbeatable. I'll make a soundtrack, a little clip of that too.
Yeah, we need some sound bites here. We need something like a laser. Is that lasers? All right.
What else is on the docket? This is a really formatted show. A lot of bullet points today.
Sure. So I've been making some shorts, YouTube shorts on the GameCube kiosk that I acquired, from you, by way of our sister. And recently I've been saying, okay, well, because I don't have any games for it. I have I have Mario Kart Double Dash and I have Smash Brothers Melee. Oh, and I have Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. Just a couple games. So I said, all right, I'm going to make it short. And I'm going to say, hey, people out there, what are the must-haves for this system? And we've gotten a pretty good responses, which I was, kind of surprised by. But, it's nice to ask some people's opinion and get some responses. So, I have them written down here. A couple of games. I don't know if you want to think about, any of these games, but we'll just fire through a couple of these real quick. Resident Evil 4.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's a really good one. We
Hang
talked
on a
about
second.
we talked about it last week. I've bought it on every version that's come out of that game. I've bought Resident Evil 4, and I wouldn't even say Resident Evil 4. I wouldn't even say Resident Evil is like in my wheelhouse of games. But man, I got introduced to Resident Evil, and I just really like it, and I don't think any other game sort of like in that genre I'd go for, but Resident Evil just gets me a little bit.
Nice. Okay. No, I just, I wrote all these down. I don't know all of these games, but there's definitely some hits on here. Metroid Prime 1 and 2.
Oh yeah, those are great. Metroid Prime differently. I think Metroid Prime 2 is one of those kind of games that a lot of people are like, well, like this ain't good or whatever, or I was looking for more of this from the first game, but now I have this sort of thing. And so like my opinion of Metroid Prime 2, I love that game. I thought it was great. I think the thing with Metroid Prime 2 is that a lot of people don't like the fact that the main guns that you have to use now have like ammunition on them, and so like that's a consideration, because there's two things. There's the ammunition having counters on them, so you have to acquire ammunition for guns that you need to use regularly. But the thing is, as is with every Metroid game, it gives you what you need when you kill enemies. So it's not really hard to come by ammunition. You just have to You just have to be conservative sometimes with what you're doing, and you'll be fine. I don't think it's a big thing. And then the other thing is that you're sort of, it's got a light world, dark world thing. And before you get the suit where you can freely traverse the dark world, you're constantly taking damage unless you are in these little domes. So like Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, Like you've got to be in these little spaces, otherwise you're taking damage from the miasma or whatever. And like even then the game is set intuitively so that it's like, okay, you have to worry about damage, but just follow. The game is laid out in such a way where if you just follow it, it will do whatever. Does that does that mess with the way that people like to play Metroid games where they're like, well, I want to be able to go wherever I want to go, and now I have to do what the game is telling me to do, because otherwise I get punished for just wandering around. Some people really get bothered by that, so I can understand why people don't like Metroid Prime 2 as much. It's a very good game, as is the first Metroid Prime. I bought the HD remaster on Switch, and it good.
It's a good one. Okay. Cool. So there's that. And a couple other hits. Zelda, Wind Waker, Zelda Twilight Princess.
Twilight Princess is good. Fun thing about Twilight Princess is it came out on GameCube and it also came out on Wii. And so the Wii version, because Link is traditionally left-handed, they wanted... the nunchuck is going to be in your right hand. So they were like, well, let's put the sword in his right hand in this game. And so what they did is they took the GameCube version and just did a complete mirror flip. So if you play the game on GameCube, the game is 100% backwards from what it is on the Wii. So that's interesting. I think the GameCube is probably the better way to play, because really the Wii... it was like, all right, let's take it and put it on the Wii, but really all you're doing is just swinging the controller around instead of pushing a button. It's just a button substitution. There's nothing to it there. So yeah, that game on GameCube is probably really, really great. And Wind Waker, that's a game that a lot of people were like, why did you give me this cartoony game when we wanted a game that looked like what Twilight Princess looks like? But it is also a very good game. What's next on the list?
Very nice. Let's see. Luigi's Mansion.
Ooh, baby. That was a launch title for the GameCube, and it's Luigi ghost busting. And it's in a big haunted mansion, so it gives me that Resident Evil 1 vibe. Resident Evil on GameCube, that's the way to play that game. We talked about it last week. It's really good. The original PlayStation version is a joke, and just because there's a director's cut of the original PlayStation version, it just looks. It's the clumsy, toddling, gangly teenage years of video game consoles. So that's what it looks like. And the GameCube's like, all right, we're becoming a man now. So it's Resident Evil is good.
It's time to grow in a little mustache and go buy some cigarettes.
But yeah, Luigi's Mansion, I recall going, you know what? It's not a Mario platformer, but I have an open mind. First-party Nintendo games are always good, and Luigi's Mansion's good, and that's a good one.
Nice one, bro. Very nice. Trying to pick ones that you might know. Super Mario Sunshine.
Yeah, Mario Sunshine's good. More 3D platforming. They really a real improvement from Nintendo 64 in terms of how the cameras work and stuff. Again, like between Mario 64 and Ocarina of Time, they nearly nailed it. They nearly nailed it in Mario 64, and that was their first attempt of making a 3D platforming game that it had never been done before.
Yeah.
And in Ocarina of Time, they're like, okay, we figured out that you need a button to orient whichever direction you're facing, and they pretty much nailed it with Z targeting on that. And it's a feature that has since been incorporated to all games like that. You get a button that just faces you right in the right direction, and it's good.
Nice.
Sorry, what? Yeah, Mario Sunshine. You get the little flood thing. People say that Mario 64 is better, but I disagree. I think this game has everything Mario 64 has plus an improvement. And it's got an island vibe.
The island. Okay.
Yeah, right near the beach.
Down by the beach. What else we got? Paper Mario.
The $1,000 game.
Paper Mario and the $1,000 game. I think it's coming down.
All I know about that game is that it's the best Paper Mario game, and it has been re-released on Switch and get it on Switch, but get it on GameCube too.
Yeah, that's what people were saying.
Hopefully, it brought the cost of that game down.
Yeah. Let's see. What's some more fun ones on here? Simpsons Hit and Run.
Simpsons Hit and Run is Grand Theft Auto, but Simpsons. So, if you like Grand Theft Auto, then you like and you like the Simpsons, then you'll definitely like the two. I've never played it.
Yeah, we got to get that sound, but we got to get that loaded up.
Yeah, send that to me. I'll put it on the board. I've never played that game, but it's Grand Theft Auto, but the Simpsons, and yeah, that's a great game.
That in a similar vein, somebody mentioned Crazy Taxi, which of course
Yeah,
I like Crazy Taxi because you can do anything you want. There's no rules.
Yeah, there's another Simpsons game that's not Hit and Run. That one is more like Crazy Taxi. The Hit and Run is like Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah. What's that one called? I feel like I had a copy of it, but I don't remember.
It's okay.
It was so much so that I think they got in some legal stuff because it was so similar to Crazy Taxi.
They surely did, and that's pretty funny. Yeah, the Crazy Taxi people were like, "Hey, man, you stole our game, and now we're gonna get crushed because it's got a Simpsons IP attached to it." And yeah, that man,
Right.
the poor, not the Sega Saturn, the Dreamcast, poor Dreamcast.
Sega Dreamcast.
Yeah, poor Dreamcast. It is. I'll tell you, Sega did stuff. Sega of America was like, "Hey man, we shouldn't do it this way." Sega of Japan disagreed, and now Sega only makes video games. So that's the end of Sega in a nutshell.
Right, and no amount of Offspring or Bad Religion songs could bring them back from the Crazy Taxi debacle. Yeah, I feel like those Sega Japan people are a little bit more cutthroat than their American counterparts.
Well, they had very rigid ideas about how to do business. As to basically, it's like, hey, it was successful here in Japan, so that should translate to America. Now with Nintendo, you've got a guy like Howard Phillips who has the clairvoyance and the foresight to be like, hey, take a game like Super Mario Brothers 2, the Japanese version, the very hard one. It's called the Lost Levels over here when it eventually got released. Howard Phillips was like, Americans are not going to go for this. Like this is going to be awful. They're going to hate it. It's too difficult. And so they instead they decided to, put the Mario IP onto the game Doki Doki Panic.
They pulled a Simpsons Hit and Run.
Yeah, they pulled a Simpsons Hit and Run on Doki Doki Panic. Gave it some quality of life updates, and the game was already developed by R&D 1. So it's the same Koji Kondo and and the video game GOAT, whoever made Super Mario Brothers. His name is escaping me at the moment. Shigeru Miyamoto.
Yeah,
Miyamoto, not Matsumoto. Yeah, you're the same two brain trusts that made that game. They're like, well, let's throw the Mario stuff onto this game. It's like, okay, good idea. And that was how that was how American culture at the time, like that's what Nintendo was like for a big chunk of time, was
Mario 2.
like as much as people bag on Super Mario Brothers 2, everything about Nintendo of America was like, we're going all in on Super Mario Brothers 2. The first issue of Nintendo Power was Super Mario Brothers 2. The Super Mario Brothers Super Show, everything was based on Super Mario Brothers 2. All the merchandise and stuff, everything was Super Mario Brothers 2. Like they went in on Super Mario Brothers 2.
Yeah.
So you can't tell by today as a retro gamer, unless you were there. We were kids when this stuff was happening in real time. Like it had a grip on the culture. Super Mario Brothers 2 is very important, which thus meaning having a guy like Howard Phillips to be like, hey, we're not going to do that. And then having the Nintendo people be like, okay, well, you've been right before. We're going to trust you.
Yeah.
Sega, on the other hand, they had their guy whose name escapes me at the moment, but Tom Kalinske. I know the last name is right. I don't remember his first name is Tom, but Kalinske is the name. He was the Howard Phillip equivalent at Sega of America, and he's like, I'm telling you, it's not going to work. And they're like, well, it was successful here, so it's going to be. And anyway, that's how that whole thing went. So not good for the Crazy Taxi people that the Simpsons, that their game got Simpsons IP attached to it and released on other consoles. That system was doomed from the start, and it was ahead of its time, and ahead of its time is bad sometimes.
Yeah. And look, even the box to Super Mario Brothers 2, you look on it, it says Mario Madness. For some reason.
Yeah, like
got nothing to do with anything.
Yeah, Nintendo was like, listen, there will be Mario Madness.
The box says so.
It will be expensive cardboard. We listen to what the box tells us to do. What's the next game on the list here?
Let's see.
While you're looking at that, I do just want to say I get all my video game history information from Codex, A History of Video Games. Wonderful podcast. Those guys over there are awesome. Shout out to them, Tyler Otsby and Mike Coletta.
Nice, bro. Very nice. Pikmin.
Oh, baby. That's a first party NES game. Miyamoto. That's a Miyamoto original, and it's very good. That one's
he's put out some bangers, hasn't he?
Oh yeah, oops, all bangers.
Right? How it's just like these people who are great. It's like, how do they keep coming up with one after the other? It's nuts. I love it.
And
happy there's people like that.
The great thing about Miyamoto, man, like all his ideas, these guys are just like, like when we grew up, we like to go exploring in the adjacent woods, and we were always more interested what bark was made out of on a tree. And
all right. Oh, there was this cave I was always afraid to go into. Boom, Legend of Zelda.
Right, like I like to collect bugs. Boom, Pokemon.
Son of a monkey.
Yeah.
Okay, so just real life experience and turn it into a video game.
Yeah, boom, Pikmin. That one's great. That's a fun game, and they really use the processing power on the GameCube for that. You got 100 controllable sprites tagging along with you. It's great. It's great game.
Cool. What else? Couple of different ones. Somebody said 1080 Avalanche. I think that's a snowboarding game, right?
Yeah, I've never played 1080 Avalanche, but I have played 1080 snowboarding on Nintendo 64, and that's a fun game. It's just a slalom, and you're hitting big tricks. It was So I don't know if it was like this for 1080 Avalanche, but in 1080, when you're doing tricks, you have to put in a sequence of button controls. So you hit a ramp and you get air, and then you have to put these button controls in. So it's not like Tony Hawk where you hit the thing and it's like, all right, hit L and you'll start spinning or whatever. It's like if you want to do one turn, you got to do ABA. If you want to do two turns, you got to do ABA, up, down, left, right. So it also becomes a race against time to put in this button combination. That's sort of how the gameplay worked on it. I don't know if it's the same with 1080 Avalanche, but I found it to be fun when I played on Nintendo 64.
Nice. Okay, where are we at? Are we close to the bottom line? I wanted to go. I wanted to talk about our quest updates before we get out of here.
Oh, good. Hey, good thing. Good thing. It is bottom line time. This has been history of GameCube games, or stuff that has to do with it, with Son of Rad Chaser. It's the bottom line time. So you want a bottom line with quest updates, which we normally do at the front, but now we're doing it at the back today.
Yeah, we're good. We're doing Bizarro style. So let's see. My February quest update for my NES games it's going pretty well. I've got several leads on eBay bids. I've got I've been going through Mercari, which is nice too. Also, like we mentioned earlier, our guy on Instagram, what was it? Retro Video Game Guy.
Yep.
He just has what's called, I've seen him before, but he has claim sales, and he lists stuff up, and it's like, first to claim, gets it, and then, you sort out the details later. So that was pretty cool. So this is another place to be chasing down games, Instagram. So if we could find something else like that where we could claim stuff online, that'd be something cool. I'm just been trying to find different avenues of where I can find the games online. So that was nice. I think I received in the mail last night game number 10 out of 100. I haven't popped that open yet. So there's that, and then I've got others en route. So we are on track. I'm on track for my February quota of 8 to 9 games, and we're still pretty early in the month. So that's good. I'm excited about that. A side quest. I'm also working on a side quest. I want to collect all the Legend of Zelda for the NES, the cart variations. There's like 11 different variations, so I thought that'd be kind of cool to collect the different versions. So I got a lead on one at the very least. I'll probably be winning a bid here shortly, and I've got a second one as well in the auction space. So that's pretty cool. Probably one of the more niche collection type things that I've thought about working on. Just getting the same copy of a game, but with slight different variations, different seals, different printed text, just to see what print run it was from. So very a little inside, but we like to nerd out here at Camp Chaser.
Okay.
Son of Chaser, what do you got?
Bottom line time for me is I don't know exactly what my end game for what my yearly chase is here, because I haven't written down exactly how many things I need, but I have just acquired 70 new issues of about 70 new issues of Nintendo Power.
A boatload.
Yeah, I think some of them are duplicates, so I'm going to go through them next week. I really desperately want to open them now, but I'm making the pilgrimage up to Fort Camp Chaser next week. So we're gonna be getting nuts doing content next week. So I'm gonna bring all of those up. Everything that I've ordered has come. So that's going good for that. I got two of those love letter video games in the bag. The second one's gonna post today at 4:00. I've got a whole bunch more of those that I want to shoot because they're silly and they make me laugh. It's some of the dumbest stuff I've ever done. So that's how I know it's good to me. And then also I went on a little side. I've been going on a little side quest, and I was like, well, I'm gonna get all these Nintendo Power. So now I'm thinking about getting every official Nintendo Power player's guide. So I've got I got a couple of those, backed up as well. Some of the very early ones. I got Final Fantasy and Ninja Gaiden and the 4-way football one, and Dragon Warrior and yeah, got that going too. So that's a side quest for me, but I gotta get through all that stuff, which we're gonna get through. We're gonna get through next week. For right now, I'm just gonna be sort of making content with the stuff that I have, and I actually picked up a couple NES games from Retro Video Game Guy myself. So
Excellent work, Son of Chaser. It seems like having a clear-cut goals, it seems to be working for me anyway. Like I've said, okay, I need to get 8 to 9 games a month to stay on track. Anything more is gravy, is good. But have that goal to shoot for. Much like anything in life, if you have the goal in front of you instead of just going willy-nilly, it seems like you get a little more of a bit of a laser focus on things. So good on us.
yes,
We're adding the stacks.
good. Okay, good bottom line here. So that's it. I'll see you next week on the podcast, and then again in real life.
Yes, and for all of you beautiful chasers out there, we'll see you next week as well. You check us out on YouTube, check us out on Instagram, Rad Chaser.
Yeah.
Let that name sink in.
Yep, that's it. Thanks again for subbing. Thanks for listening to the podcast. If you made it this far, or if you just played in the background for us as a favor, thanks for doing that favor for us. Tell your friends and keep chasing them. Thanks for listening. I'm the son of Rad Chaser. Chaser, until next time.
Until the next time, my beautiful chasers, please, please, please never forget. Keep chasing them.
Rad Chaser.
Rad Chaser.
You cut off.